Tonight on your News at 9, volunteers from Joplin's Forest Park Baptist Church show some civic pride and spend their morning beautifying downtown. Plus, Cowtown Days returns to Baxter Springs, Kansas with more than 100 craft vendors and a ton of other cool attractions entertaining hundreds of four-staters. And over in Pittsburgh, the Parks and Rec Department is getting four-state kids pumped for a fun outdoor summer with another successful OK Kids Day, and we are checking out all the action. Meteorologist Nick Kelly has your weather. Danny Terzer is on sports. I'm Mike Mahoney, and this is your KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14.
The four states' most watched news starts now.
Well, thanks so much for tuning in. You know, usually when we start on weather, it's because it was a nasty day or something dangerous might be coming, but not today. We're going to start with weather because today was so beautiful. Nick Kelly.
Certainly was, Mike. Even though we had quite a bit of cloud cover today, we kept things quiet, and that good south wind sent us from 52 this morning to an afternoon high of 78 at Joplin Regional. So it was a warm day for sure. Again, though, we kept things dry, even though cloud cover has been working back in throughout the course of the day. That's actually because of a storm system that had an appearance earlier this week, wanting to return for tomorrow. And while tracking that, keeping an eye on our next storm system, another one that'll whirl in on Monday. But the system to our south is going to make an appearance tomorrow. It'll keep the mostly cloudy skies in place and dry conditions for tonight. But as soon as we hit late morning going into the afternoon, that's when we'll start to see scattered storms pick up. And despite that, Mike, you can see how we go back into the 70s tomorrow. But I got to track the storms tomorrow and some severe weather possibly for Monday. We'll track that in the week ahead here in just a bit.
All right. Hopefully I can sneak a dog walk in tomorrow morning. Thank you, Nick. A group of volunteers from Forest Park Baptist Church in Joplin took advantage of the gorgeous weather today to help beautify downtown Joplin. The group met at 9 a.m. at City Hall before taking to Main Street in downtown to plant fresh flowers in the city's flower baskets. In addition to planting flowers, volunteers took time to clean up trash and pull weeds. Volunteers say today's work included several groups in other projects.
And other people are handing out flowers to widows and those that need encouragement during this time. Others are going to police stations and firehouses to encourage our local heroes and just many different things. That's what we're doing. We just want to show Joplin that we love Joplin and that we just want to be united.
Albert Ferris of Albert's Greenhouse in Joplin donated all the flour, soil, and fertilizer for the project. Way to go, Albert. The weather was also picture perfect today for the Webb City citywide rummage sale. Dozens of homes participated throughout Webb City, offering a number of great deals and bargains as they made some space around the house. One home was selling items that were donated to them to help raise money for local students.
We started raising money specifically for students to go on mission trips, both in statewide and then also internationally. And that turned into getting to know the missionaries internationally, so we try to help support them.
Christina also says it's a year-long process to get everything collected for the big sale. Plenty of people were out and about this morning in Baxter Springs, Kansas, and enjoying day number 2 of Cowtown Days at the historic Johnston Public Library grounds. There were tons of fun things to do, including checking out the roughly 100 craft vendors, listening to some live music, and grabbing some tasty BBQ and more. The pandemic canceled last year's Cowtown Days, but in 2021, it looks like the folks in and around the Baxter Springs, as well as their pets, we're itching to get outside and make this year's get-together a smash hit.
We didn't get to have it for a while because of the pandemic, but they're expecting 2,000 to 3,000 people here today throughout the day. I think that's great for our community. It will bring a lot of people in.
With quarantine, I had 7 people living in one house, so it wasn't fun. So actually getting out of the house was a lot better than staying in one house with 7 people.
Cowtown Days 2021 also featured a car show and even some Old West gunfights, a pie competition, and a beard and mustache contest. Today in Pittsburgh, the city's Parks and Rec Department held their Outdoor Kids Day event to encourage local kids to get active and get outside. The annual OK Kids Day featured numerous fun events around the city aimed at getting kids some exercise. This year, due to the pandemic, organizers had to limit activities and the number of people who could attend. The biggest change was the removal of the popular canoeing activity, but organizers still say kids are getting the message to get outside and enjoy the four-state area.
This day is so important because kids get the opportunity to come outdoors, drop the electronics for the day, back out with nature, and that's a huge aspect that we're missing nowadays with kids.
Pittsburgh Parks and Rec also says this day gives kids an opportunity to reconnect with nature. Activities included fishing, archery, and more. The final phase of U.S. troop withdrawal from Afghanistan begins today. The pullout will be taking place throughout the next few months and is expected to be completed by September 11th. Military leaders have repeatedly argued, however, that to completely withdraw U.S. troops from Afghanistan, or not to, I should say, but instead reduce the size of the U.S. military's presence in the country. They say pulling U.S. troops out of Afghanistan by a certain date eliminates pressure on the Taliban and weakens U.S. leverage in peace talks with the group. It's now time for us to honor one of our many four-state heroes. Tonight, we recognize Clifford Harrington of Neosho, Missouri. Harrington served as a sergeant in the U.S. Army and he fought in Operation Iraqi Freedom. Thank you, sir, for your service and for fighting for freedom. For more information on all our four-state heroes or to nominate your own, just log on to KOAMNewsNow.com. We'll be right back with meteorologist Nick Kelly and another look at your weather. Plus, we are headed to Pittsburgh and checking out a fun adoption event featuring food trucks and four-state four-legged friends. That's coming up right after weather.
Even though we saw the cloud cover roll back in, at least start to today, we kept things quite warm as we proceeded throughout our Saturday. You see how the time lapse from Indigo Sky proceeded to unfold throughout the course of the day. Started out with a fair amount of sunshine this morning, but then we saw the cloud cover build throughout the course of the day, leading toward, well, at least a mostly cloudy sunset. But even with that cloud cover rolling in, that did not stop temperatures from warming up. Granted, yesterday was quite warm with highs around 80, but we dropped back into the lower to middle 50s this morning. We did manage to rebound to about 77 this afternoon before the day was all said and done. And thankfully, we're still looking quiet outside and mild in addition to that. 68 in Joplin with some cloud cover up top. Otherwise, we're dry in the city with that south wind at 8. Starting to bump that humidity up, though, at 61%. Elsewhere around the immediate metro, we have 67 in Pittsburgh, Seneca, 68 in Baxter, Oronogo, Webb City, while Neosho is sitting at 67. Most of us in general are sitting in the upper 60s at the top of the 9 o'clock hour. Still mild because of that south wind that's been persistent at about 5 to 15 and even some occasional gusts near 20 throughout the day. As long as that breeze stays in place for tonight, we're not going to drop off much more, mainly lower 60s as we continue to see the cloud cover, at least more of it, continue to stream in ahead of our next storm system rolling in from the south. And believe it or not, this is a system that made an appearance earlier in the week when we had to deal with thunderstorms on Tuesday and Wednesday. At the surface to start, though, I'm still watching our cold front to the northwest. This is the one that'll bring us a shot for maybe some severe weather by the time we hit late Monday going into Tuesday. But let's look at the upper level setup. This upper low that brought us rain and storms during the middle of the week, it's going to finally start drifting back toward the jet stream, this orange parade of arrows here, giving us a shot for thunderstorms starting tomorrow. Then this upper low near Idaho, that's the one that'll bring the cold front our way on Monday. That'll bring another shot for thunderstorms our way. So we'll track both systems for you here on the future track. I don't see any worries for the overnight hours, so we'll start the morning off dry, mostly cloudy though, and lows in the lower 60s. Then as more moisture gets pulled in from the south as that main system rolls in, I think any time after 10 o'clock in the morning and certainly by lunchtime, we will start to see some scattered showers and storms work in, and they'll stick around as we go throughout the afternoon. I don't think a lot of you, let me try that again. I think some of us will see rain, others will not. I don't know why the English language is failing me tonight, Mike, but 61 in the morning, 70 by noon, highs here 74. You can see how on the future track, some of you staying dry west of 59. Everybody else will have to deal with scattered rain and storms for the evening, but none of this should be too strong or severe. We'll get a break in the action Monday morning to start. Then that cold front north and west rolls in. Maybe some thunderstorms along the front by Monday evening to start things out. Then as both systems really kick into gear, we'll have to watch for maybe some strong to severe storms as we head into late Monday night and going into Tuesday. And in fact, we have a low severe threat from Nevada, Pittsburgh, Parsons to about Bartlesville, points south and east from there. From early Monday evening to about 3 a.m. Tuesday, we'll keep an eye out for large hail, gusty winds, and heavy rain with any of those storms as they roll in. Let's say 74 tomorrow, 81 on Monday, 61 on Tuesday. So we're going to cool down a bit behind the front. Thankfully, though, highs staying in the mid to upper 60s overall. Maybe a break in the action Wednesday, Mike, but as we head toward the end of the week, more rain chances want to sneak in.
Yeah, come back, son, please. All right, thanks so much, Nick Kelly. Nick, check this out. Earlier today, Riggs Chiropractic teamed up with the Southeast Kansas Humane Society, as well as local food trucks, for a Food Trucks and Fur Babies event. The get-together took place at Riggs Chiropractic in Pittsburgh and offered free spinal screenings, as well as tasty food and opportunities for animals to find forever homes. Organizers say the event is a great way for four-state families to add a new four-legged member and to learn about the Southeast Kansas Humane Society.
A lot of people in today, just lets everybody know who we are, what we're doing, the animals that need to have their forever homes, and to show how cute the dogs are today.
Organizers also say getting the fur babies out in the public eye and having them socialize with folks makes the job of getting them adopted a whole heck of a lot easier. I can see why. Those are some cute pups. All right, still to come, the U.S. is sending aid to India as the country deals with a deadly COVID-19 surge, but that's not all that America is doing.
The U.S. is restricting travel to India as the country deals with a deadly COVID-19 surge. I'm Charles Watson. I've got the latest.
India has quickly become the latest epicenter of the coronavirus pandemic, with more than 2,000 people dying every day and likely many more uncounted. The U.S. is now extending aid as India grapples with the deadly COVID-19 surge. Fox News' Charles Watson has the latest.
The U.S. will restrict travel from India as the country deals with a devastating COVID-19 surge. The policy was recommended by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention and will go into effect on Tuesday. It bars most non-U.S. citizens from entering the United States with a few exceptions, such as permanent residents and students.
I think the Biden administration has been more lenient with this compared to the previous administration because they're allowing certain categories to come in, understanding that there is an urgency for these students and other visa holders to be able to come in.
The restriction comes as India struggles to contain a second wave of infections. For the first time anywhere in the world, the country reported more than 400,000 new cases on Saturday alone, bringing its tally to more than 19 million since the pandemic started. India also ramped up its vaccination effort Saturday, opening vaccinations to all adults. But many states don't have enough doses to meet the overwhelming demand, and other life-saving resources are still in short supply.
My father couldn't get anything on time. Everything got delayed, everything. No reports on time, no medicines on time, no cylinders, nothing.
Meanwhile, the U.S. is sending some desperately needed help. The first of several shipments of oxygen cylinders, N95 masks, and other medical supplies were flown to New Delhi on Friday. The U.S. is also sending a team of public health experts to help India respond to the pandemic. In North Carolina, Charles Watson, Fox News.
The U.S. isn't alone in sending aid to India as it copes with a deadly coronavirus surge. France has sent its first shipment of breathing machines, ICU medical supplies, and long-term oxygen support equipment to New Delhi. That shipment is expected to arrive tomorrow morning. A group of scientists reportedly warned the India government of a pending virus surge, but officials failed to call for stricter measures with millions of largely unmasked people attending religious festivals and political rallies. When we return, we are taking a look at some of the goodies being offered to Americans in order to convince them to get the coronavirus vaccine. Folks who get the shot can get free donuts, free beer, free hot dogs, and in some cases, cold hard cash. That story and more are coming up in just 2 quick minutes. Welcome back to your News at 9. There is no shortage of incentives, promotions, and gifts, all aimed at getting Americans to get their coronavirus vaccine. Fox News' Richard Giacovis checks out some of the perks for those who have gotten their COVID shots.
It's special tonight. Lots of memories built in this every single bite.
A bite that many decided to take. Dozens showed up with their vaccine cards at the Krispy Kreme window for a free donut.
Excited, I want to cry. You don't get anything free anymore.
And for some companies, this really isn't a one-time incentive. Like here at Krispy Kreme in Times Square, you can come and get a free donut every day that you show your vaccine card, even if it's on your phone. Here's my vaccine card, and I get my free $1.99 donut. Doesn't get much better than that. And while Krispy Kreme gives out free donuts, Budweiser is offering a free bottle of beer. Nathan's is giving out free hot dogs, and Junior's is offering a free mini cheesecake to fully vaccinated Americans through Memorial Day.
I think everybody should get the vaccine, and it's like an extra perk, so
yeah, it's a perk,
that works.
Some say the free stuff is nice, but what may be an even bigger incentive is money. The state of West Virginia this week announcing that all West Virginians between the ages of 16 and 35 who get the COVID-19 vaccine are eligible for a $100 savings bond.
Employers, I think, are reluctant to mandate a vaccine, so what they'd rather do instead is encourage the vaccine by giving these incentives.
The most magical place on earth is doing their part too. Walt Disney World Resort says cast members who get their shots by September 30th are eligible for a one-time payment equal to 4 hours of pay. But not everyone loves the idea of getting incentivized for this less than 6-month-old vaccine.
I think I'm worth a little bit more than just a donut or extra $5 in my paycheck.
Looks like for some people it may take a lot more than that donut to get a shot in the arm.
There are lingering questions when it comes to mask wearing and vaccinated individuals. Fox News' Lucas Tomlinson says the government and health experts have been sending out conflicting messages. He files this report.
The CDC issued new guidance on mask wearing outdoors, saying they can come off for fully vaccinated people under certain circumstances. President Biden recently addressed the issue.
But if we were, in fact, sitting there talking to one another close, I'd have my mask on, and I bet you'd have a mask, even though we've both been vaccinated. And so it's a small precaution to take that has a profound impact.
President Biden spent 30 seconds looking for his mask after a speech outdoors in Georgia Thursday night. Some are wondering why fully vaccinated adults still need to wear a mask outside at all. The former Assistant Secretary for Health under the Trump administration offered his best medical advice.
So if you're around vaccinated people, you should not wear a mask. You're very, very safe. We know the transmission is very low. So I think this is very confusing, and it's causing people to not have faith in the vaccine. It's exactly the opposite of what we want.
The CDC director explained the new guidelines.
If you are fully vaccinated and want to attend a small outdoor gathering with people who are vaccinated and unvaccinated, or dine at an outdoor restaurant with friends from multiple households, the science shows if you are vaccinated, you can do so safely, unmasked.
The CDC says about 78% of people who have been hospitalized, needed a ventilator, or died from coronavirus have been overweight or obese. Today, about 42% of America is obese. In addition to getting vaccinated, slimming down through diet and exercise might be the best prevention for this virus, as well as cancer and heart disease. In Washington, Lucas Tomlinson, Fox News.
Still to come, Hollywood and Broadway both lose a legend today. Olympia Dukakis has passed away at the age of 89, and we are taking a look back at some highlights from her impressive acting career. That story and more are next. Olympia Dukakis passed away at the age of 89 today. Dukakis was a character actress, perhaps best known for her Oscar-winning supporting role in the Cher film Moonstruck, which was released in 1987. The actress also played a wealthy widow in Steel Magnolias. During her career, she performed in more than 60 films, 130 stage productions, and 50 television series. She was also the cousin of former Massachusetts Governor Michael Dukakis. In a Facebook post, her brother wrote that Olympia had been failing in health for months. No cause of death was immediately released. A world-famous building in New York City has reached a milestone. Today marked the Empire State Building's 90th birthday. On May 1st, 1931, President Herbert Hoover switched on the iconic skyscraper's lights at 11:30 in the morning. Many consider the structure to be the most recognizable skyscraper in the world. It stands 1,250 feet tall up to the 102nd floor observatory. Then there's another 200 feet to the top of the broadcast tower. The building has undergone $165 million worth of upgrades over the past few years. Those improvements include a glass elevator, museum space, and a revamped observation deck. Well, stay right there. We have got a lot more news headed your way, as well as another look at your weather with meteorologist Nick Kelly and your KOAM Sports Report with Danny Terzer. That's all coming up right here in your KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14.
While planning summer vacations, you now have more options as COVID restrictions loosen up. I'm Christina Coleman in Los Angeles with the latest.
Plus, which state has the best pizza? That's a subject that's always up for debate, but Food and Wine magazine has come up with a top 10, and you might just be surprised who made the final cut. Details are coming up. Welcome back to your News at 9. May Day means annual marches and rallies calling attention to workers' rights. Historically, clashes between police and protesters happen often on this day in Seattle. But today, several peaceful demonstrations took place in that city. Later in the day, police say 2 people were arrested for damaging a coffee shop in the Capitol Hill neighborhood. Seattle police also issued another public safety order to a small group dressed in black. The city of Seattle is not issuing permits for any marches this year due to the pandemic. Summer vacations are inching closer to normal as some of the most popular tourist attractions and destinations reopen after being closed for more than a year. Fox News' Christina Coleman takes a look.
The happiest place on earth has officially reopened. Disneyland in California welcoming guests Friday after being closed for over a year. The 412-day closure is the longest in the theme park's 65-year history. Capacity will be limited to 25% and only open to California residents with advanced reservations. Face coverings are also required.
We're so excited. We're ready for it.
A little tired, but we know it's going to be worth it.
Yeah.
Disney World in Florida, which reopened last July, has increased its capacity from 25% to 35%. And in a boost to the state's tourism industry, the CDC says cruise lines could resume U.S. operations by July. Ships can begin limited sailings with passengers if 98% of its crew and 95% of its passengers are fully vaccinated.
Very happy that the CDC listened to what we'd been telling them, that the vaccination is a key part of reopening safely. And they've come up with guidelines that we can follow, so the industry is ready to go.
Earlier this month, Florida sued the federal government to demand cruising from U.S. ports to resume immediately. State leaders arguing the CDC's no-sail order would do lasting damage to Florida's economy if it remains in place.
We don't believe the federal government has the right to mothball a major industry for over a year.
The CDC says cruising will never be a zero-risk activity, but guidelines in place will help reduce coronavirus spread. In Los Angeles, Christina Coleman, Fox News.
A new debate slices the reputation of a state famous for its pizza and gives the upper hand to a neighboring rival. Food and Wine magazine is out with its top 10 states for who has the best pizza, and the magazine says the Empire State's reign is no more, with New Jersey rolling in the dough and taking the top spot as the pizza king. Connecticut took second place and New York is now relegated to third. Honorable mentions go to Illinois, Michigan, and California for coming in 4th, 5th, and 6th respectively. And would you believe it, the one and only Show Me State came in at number 10. Kansas, Arkansas, Oklahoma, step up your pizza game. All right. Well, we'll be right back with meteorologist Nick Kelly and another look at your weather. Don't go anywhere.
We were able to keep quiet once again and even warm again today, despite an increase in the cloud cover. Unfortunately, that cloud cover on the increase, though, is hinting that another storm system is ready to roll in to wrap up the weekend. But overall, the time-lapse from indigo sky indicated how we all looked throughout the course of the day, which it wasn't a bad start. We had plentiful sunshine once we got past sunrise. Then the cloud cover started to work in as we proceeded through the afternoon and certainly into this evening. Underneath all the cloud cover in place, though, we're still mild and dropping to 68, with the south breeze at 8 miles per hour, keeping the humidity on the upswing at 61%. We're sitting in mainly the upper 60s across the Joplin Metro, from 66 in Diamond, 65 actually, a couple lower numbers around Sarcoxie and Granby, while we have Baxter and Galena checking in at 68. Most of us, though, are sitting mainly in the upper 60s, between 66 and 68 degrees. Still mild because of that south breeze that we had all day long, sustained to 5 to 15, gusts pushing near 20. That breeze is going to stay in place, and with mostly cloudy skies, we're not going to see temperatures drop off too much more from here on out. We're thinking lower 60s before we start our Sunday morning out. Even though we kept quiet with the increase in the cloud cover today, got to venture south because that's where the plentiful moisture resulting in rain and storms can be found across parts of Texas, Louisiana, and along the Gulf Coast. It's not at the surface that we're worried about with this system. I will point out, though, that we have a cold front to the north and west. That's one system we'll have to watch as we roll into Monday, and certainly on the backside of it Tuesday. It's what's the upper levels I'm keeping an eye on. This upper low near Idaho, that's what's going to push our next cold front our way, certainly on Monday. But this upper low working over Texas that wants to swing back our way, this is part of the system that gave us rain and thunderstorm chances back on Tuesday and Wednesday. So you could even argue this wants to make a repeat appearance as we wrap up the weekend. So let's time out both systems on the future track. We keep quiet for the rest of the night, and certainly as we start your Sunday morning out. Got to go with mostly cloudy skies, unfortunately, but we'll stay mild with most of us in the lower 60s. It's not until we get after 10 in the morning, certainly by noon, that's when more moisture will result in some scattered showers, even some thunderstorms, mainly for areas along and east of US 59. This is not looking like an all-day rain, certainly not expecting any severe weather, but we can't rule out, unfortunately, some thunderstorms as we wrap up the weekend tomorrow. 61 in the morning, 70 by noon, highs near 74. We'll get to that number with that south breeze still in place at 5 to 15 miles per hour. Here's 9 o'clock Sunday evening. We may start with a few leftover showers and thunderstorms, but this wave will clear out. We'll stay quiet for the rest of Sunday evening into Monday morning. Then Monday's all about that cold front that wants to fire off some scattered storms late in the afternoon as we push into the lower 80s. Then we'll have to watch for potentially a couple complexes of thunderstorms to graze us with potentially a low severe threat, especially from Nevada, let's say Girard, Parsons, and down to Bartlesville, points south and east. From there, let's say late Monday afternoon to about 3 a.m. Tuesday morning. Large hail, high wind, and heavy rain, the main threats here. Fortunately, I'm going to keep the tornado threat low with any strong to severe thunderstorms that we'll see on Monday and certainly going into early Tuesday morning. 74 tomorrow, 81 on Monday, 61, certainly cooling down behind that front on Tuesday. Let's say 68, partly sunny and dry Wednesday, Mike. Unfortunately, that's the only dry day because once we hit the end of the week, thunderstorms want to roll back in.
All right, I'm sure those Mayflowers are on the way. Thanks so much, Nick. And stick around, sports fans. We'll be right back with Danny Terzer and your KOAM News at 9 Sports Report.
Former Webb City standout Zach Davidson is drafted by the Minnesota Vikings today. He's picked in the 5th round at 168 overall. Davidson is a tight end and played collegiate ball at Central Missouri. He was a 2019 All-American after racking up 15 touchdowns on 40 receptions and averaging 22.35 yards per catch. The J.L. Hutchinson Little League hosts its opening day ceremony today. A very special guest is taking part in the festivities. Fort Scott native Adam LaRoche throws out the first pitch. LaRoche played in the majors for 12 seasons as a first baseman and is a big supporter of youth baseball. He stuck around to chat with fans, sign autographs, and take pictures.
The amount of friendships and lifelong memories that you get when you're 7, 8 years old, 10, 12 years old, playing on these fields. And again, I don't think they probably won't realize it now, but we all look back and think of those and remember those times as some of the best we ever had in baseball.
Pittsburgh State baseball is riding a 5-game winning streak. Today, the Gorillas are on the road to finish out a series against Missouri Western. In Game 1 of a doubleheader, PSU gets by Missouri Western 7-6. Dawson Pomeroy and Brett Daly drive in 2 runs apiece. Then a big 7th inning in Game 2 lifts PSU over Missouri Western 5-2. The Gorillas complete the series sweep. Missouri Southern also on the road, starting a series against Northwest today. The Lions take Game 1 6-2. Jordan Fitzpatrick gets a solo homer and racks up 3 RBI total. Then Missouri Southern wins again, this time 11-4. Fitzpatrick and Dexter Swims combine for 7 RBI. In the COC today, Carthage hosts Joplin for the 2nd time this season. In the first meeting just last week, the game went into extra innings and Joplin came out on top. Carthage with a shot at revenge. In the 3rd, David Fiskus to center for a base hit. Cole Cooper comes home. Joplin gets the first run of the game. Same inning, Justin McReynolds pops it straight up. A sea of blue is there, but it drops. Fielding Campbell and Kyler Stokes come in. Big inning for the Eagles. They score 5. Later, Carthage at bat, a grounder into the pitcher. The Eagles turn the double play. Joplin dominates. They get the 10-2 conference win. Pittsburg State softball is currently in 10th place in the MIAA. The Gorillas need to get up to 8 to qualify for the conference tournament. Today is their last chance as PSU hosts Northwest for their final 2 games of the season. In Game 1, Alexis Kump over the fence actually hits the scoreboard. 3-run home run. Northwest leads 6-1. In the 5th, Caitlin Weiss line drive to right. That's good for an RBI double. Then Kaylee Burns, in her final start as a Gorilla, gets the strikeout to end the inning with a batter left on. Pittsburg State makes it a close one, but Northwest takes Game 1, 8-6. In Game 2, the Gorillas fall 10-7 after taking an early lead. The pair of losses today ends the season for PSU. Missouri Southern, at 3rd in the MIAA, plays their final pair of games today as well. In Game 1 against Missouri Western, the Lions win 4-3. Ashlyn Williams goes 3 for 4 at the plate and drives in 3 runs. Then Missouri Southern gets the sweep with a 3-2 win in Game 2. The Lions close out the regular season with 8 straight wins. We'll be right back with more news.
Welcome back. Over in the Golden State, some Californians are ready for another gold rush, but it's not an idea welcomed by all. Fox News' Claudia Cowan learns about a shutdown gold mine that some think is a golden opportunity.
No mine, no shaft.
Long after the days of the gold rush, some neighbors in Grass Valley, California are blasting an idea that would bring blasting back to their rustic town.
The big concern here is really bringing back a highly industrial toxic business and putting it into what is now a very peaceful, tranquil residential community.
But with gold fetching around $1,700 an ounce.
Gold is a large market. A lot of people buy and sell gold.
Modern-day prospector Ben Mossman wants to reopen the so-called Idaho Maryland gold mine, sealed up and abandoned on the outskirts of this California Sierra town since the 1950s. For decades, it was one of the most productive mines in the country, and Mossman believes there's still a lot of gold left that could provide a valuable commodity to investors and jobs for locals.
That would be 312 full-time employees and very well-paid jobs. That's an average of $94,000 per year before benefits, and that's about double the Grass Valley average.
But some residents say while gold mining may be the city's legacy, it's not a good fit today.
Not just noise and traffic and vibration and congestion, but serious concerns like putting an industrial business in a beautiful area drops property values, so now people's nest eggs are going away.
Proponents argue the mine will have to comply with California's strict environmental regulations and that the work will be done thousands of feet underground and the entire operation hidden by trees. More impact studies are being done. County officials could decide later this year whether to leave the mine sealed or let the new owners revive the town's historic industry. Impossible to know exactly how much gold is down there, but core samples like this one show it is very high-grade quality and sourced from underground deposits that potentially could be worth billions. In Grass Valley, California, Claudia Cowan, Fox News.
Who says you're too old to go to the prom? Well, if you're an adult, make sure it's one of these proms for big kids. That's what some couples in Nevada did as they took a trip down memory lane and went back to prom night. Flowers, a limousine ride, slow dancing, and looking into each other's eyes brought back treasured memories for some older couples hoping to have fun recapturing their youth. The Mosaic Church in Henderson, Nevada hosted 40 couples for this throwback event. The dinner was followed by pictures and dancing. While couples varied in graduation years, the night still proved to be a great trip back in time. One of the attendees even donned the exact same suit he wore to his prom in 1977. Hey, good for him if it still fits. All right, we're not done yet here in your KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. And when we return, some zoos in Poland are experiencing a baby boom with multiple species increasing their zoo families. And you'll learn how COVID-19 actually played a role in this booming situation. That story and more are next. Welcome back to your News at 9. Marine mammal experts are attempting to relocate a baby whale that was seen off the Southern California coast entangled in what appears to be commercial fishing gear. Fox News' Tom Vakar has more.
There's an all-out bolo
a be on the lookout alert for a whale calf fettered by fishing ropes. It was first noticed 10 days ago off Orange County, according to National Oceanographic and Atmospheric Administration primary whale disentangler, Peter Fulkins.
And it hasn't been seen since the last report, which was last week. And the expectation is because it's a gray whale moving north with its mom, it should show up in the Bay Area sometime soon.
Fulkins says the 5 to 6 month old calf appears to have a rope or line running through its mouth.
And so in this case in particular, it's difficult to suckle on the mom when it's got something in its mouth that shouldn't be there.
But the Marine Mammal Center's co-disentangler, Kathy George, says so far this whale can be saved if spotted soon.
It looked to be in okay body condition as it was heading north. It was moving at a good speed, and we have a lot of coastline.
Getting close to a calf accompanied by a massive mom is a very risky proposition even for the most experienced experts.
They are known to defend their babies, and these whales are unpredictable. They're huge, they're large, they could be up to 50 feet. They weigh many tons. So you really need to be knowledgeable about the whale's behavior. If you do see an entanglement, we have trained teams throughout our coastline prepared and ready to respond.
Catherine Kilduff, a lawyer for the Center for Biological Diversity, says since California leads the world in high technology, it's time for ropeless fishing gear, which is already under testing.
Fishing has to accept that kind of change where they can retrieve pots without having a line that goes all the way to the seafloor.
Already leading the way, California's Dungeness crab fishermen and women with current practices as well as testing and adoption of new technologies.
That fishery is now not identified as a major threat to the humpback whales.
Polish zookeepers are celebrating a baby boom as spring sees an extraordinary number of animal births. Since March, more than 100 new animals of nearly 30 species have been born at Poland's Wrocław Zoo. According to the zookeepers, the lack of guests has contributed to the baby boom by ensuring peace and quiet. Officials at Poland's Poznan Zoo also report a similar situation with some new additions to their facility. The London Zoo also has a new addition, although this one comes from a neighboring zoo. An Asiatic lioness now calls the London Zoo her home after making the trip from the zoo in Devon, England. She's still getting used to her new setup, but zookeepers are hoping she'll spark a love connection with the resident male lion, Banu. It's all part of the zoo's work to preserve the endangered species, as there are only several hundred Asiatic lions left living in the world. They are reported only to be found in one location, Gujarat, India. Hey, well, thanks so much for spending some of your Saturday with us. We'll see you tomorrow for more KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. Let's end the show with some more good times from the gang at Cowtown Days over in Baxter Springs. Have a great night and stay safe out there. We'll see you tomorrow.